Very good evening, one and all. Welcome to the Entrepreneurship Development Program, Day 7 session. This session has been sponsored by ReferenceGlobe along with collaboration with Askmentor. So ReferenceGlobe is an edutech company, and we provide end-to-end solutions for the universities with the digital student transformation and college transformation. So we basically have 1,000 colleges connect in India, and we are also partnered with few of the universities and helping them to transform the way they are automating their daily educational activities in a cost-effective way. So please get in touch with us if at all you're having any requirements for your universities or colleges. So I'd like to hand over this call to my startup team. Thank you.
Welcome to Day 7 of Get Set Startup, Student Entrepreneurship Development Program, organized by Askmentor in association with ReferenceGlobe. The strategic partners for this event are Email Service and Consultancy, Palnesto, Hackmania, and My Startup TV. For the benefit of all those who missed the first 6 days of the program, a short brief. On day 1, Rajesh Khosla, President and Chairman of AGI Glasspack, addressed the students and shared his thoughts about entrepreneurship. The mentor on day 1 was Ms. Urvashi Baid, Director of AMIL. She spoke about idea and ideation. On day 2, the two mentors were Captain Amaya Kocher, founder of Proforce, and Captain Rahul Rai, founder of Armor Heavy. They spoke about finding a co-founder and bootstrapping. On day 3, the mentor was Rajat Shahi, founder of Hackmania. He spoke about community building and social media. Day 4 was called off as there was a bad network in North India from where the mentor was going to join. Rishabh Harshan will talk about the importance of mentoring and bootstrapping on 10th August. On day 5, the mentors were Urvashi Baid and Arundhati Rao. They spoke about how to prepare a pitch deck. The guest for the day was Shubham Mahajan, who is the founder of Cubic Online. On day 6, the mentor was Arundhati Rao, director at Email Services and Consultancy. She talked about business modeling. The mentor for today is Urvashi Baid, who is the director at Email Services and Consultancy. She will be talking about market validation or marketing. Now I hand over to Urvashi.
Good evening, one and all. We are happy to be here today on day 9 from ML Services and Consultancy Private Limited. Today, myself and Arundhati, my colleague, will be taking the session on market validation and marketing. I invite Ms. Arundhati Rao to please start the session.
Hi, everybody. Good to be back again. This is the 3rd day in a row, and the sooner we start, the better it is. So you guys can start your work and prep for your presentations. So if we'll get started now. Yeah, so we will get started with the content for today, which is essentially market validation and marketing. This is sequentially from all the other sessions that you've had in terms of starting up, bootstrapping, getting your, validation done, idea validation, then getting your business plan done, getting a BCP done. Now you're going to be looking at market validation and marketing. Next, market validation is essentially very important for you because before you go to the market with your product or service, because it establishes if there's a need for your product in the target market. It must always be done before you introduce your product or service. There are 6 ways to do market validation, and it's a good idea to go through all of these steps. The first of which is to interview your customers. Then you have prototypes of wireframes. Wireframes is typically for any software thing that you want to present to the market. A concierge service, then you must look at a small market, halving your market, not the entire market. A minimal viable product, which is how you go and say, this allows me to test and not break the bank, and a test marketing, the last of it, before you finally go live with your product or service. Next, please. Yeah, the interviewing your customers is a very significant start to validating your product or service, because this demands that you identify your target market very, very sharply. Not everybody can be your customer, not everybody is who you're trying to offer the product or the service to. Another thing with interviewing your customers, it allows you to work under constraints of time and resources. So you do a very lean market validation, because realistically speaking, you cannot access 100% of your target market to get a yes or a no from them. So you essentially look for a 80% rule, which says as long as 80% of your respondents are saying a yes or a no, that's what you listen to and that's what you go ahead with. You don't try getting 100%, because that way you'll spend a lot more in time and resources getting the answer that you want to hear, which is possibly not what the target market is saying. Next, please. The second thing that you do after you've interviewed your customers is you do a wireframe or prototype. A wireframe is a software way of doing a very small model of what you're planning to do on a platform scale, or a prototype. Prototype is for a service or product, which essentially is for you to know that just because people sitting across the table or people you're hanging out with say it's a great idea doesn't mean they're essentially the people who are buying your product. And you have to identify people to buy your product, because that's what's going to get you your revenue. For all of us who've been on net for a long time, and most of you have been, Google and Facebook are classic examples of where they use wireframes, because each time Google has acquired a new business unit, it has worked with wireframes to sound off the Google loyalists to say, hey, there's a new product there, we're integrating the new people with our existing clientele. So this is how it's going to be. So whether they got WhatsApp and whether they got YouTube, they have used wireframe to test it with their customers and integrate the new ones. When it comes to prototypes, you're looking at three ways of prototyping. You do it on paper, and usually a vast majority of your target market is happy with a paper prototype. However, a better way to do it is to build dummies, which allows you to run it and show how it works. Dummies are essentially what you do for trade fairs and all the automobile shows and all. You go with those and you run a cycle of it to show people what is the fantastic product or service you're offering. The last of all, which is videos, which is very topical in today's time with YouTubes and TikToks, which are happening. Visual representation is the key to getting an established link with your target audience. Next, please. Concierge service is effective to generate a product or idea by doing the customer's job for them manually and personally. This essentially allows you to bring a platform of buyers and sellers together and keep repeating this process over a period of time till you have established a end-to-end chain that gets you the revenue. And this allows you to test things like if a percentage of transaction is a good idea, if that's the kind of service you have. If you can typically refer this, if you look at India Mart would have done something like a concierge service before they went live and got the kind of massive platform that they do. They do it in bits and pieces. It also allows you to figure out what part of your transaction can be automated. We often get clients who need this because they want to launch on a platform, and we offer this to them and say, hey, you know what? Test it out in bits and pieces, test it out in confirmed buyers or sellers, and then go ahead with the entire thing. And a classic example of this that you find is Dress on Rent. They have worked this very effectively to get a sound and say, let's launch. And they launched and they ran well. Next. Next is halving your market, which essentially says if you're looking at a really huge market, which is what you essentially do when you're looking for revenues and you're looking for growth, this allows you to address one side of the market immediately. You can go ahead and launch and say, hey, I have this service if you subscribe to it. After you get the subscription, you can go ahead and roll out whatever other offerings you have. So essentially you get one side on board. You get a buy-in either in terms of subscription or in terms of signing up. So it adapts nicely to buyer seller market where one side of the equation will be harder than the other. So you get one side, you know that's a sitting market. The other side, whether it's a buyer or a seller, is a market you have to cultivate and curate over a period of time. The client rolls out to the test market, looks at trends and makes changes, and this allows you to tweak your model also over a period of time. Next, please. Minimum viable product. A minimal viable product is something that we deal with on a daily basis as customers. It is the minimum you do to deliver a unit of value and map market validation around it. Clients roll out to the test market, look at trends, and come back and tweak the model. Classic examples of this are things like OTT platform, Airbnb. OTT platform, if you can think of Amazon Prime now, Amazon Prime never started out with Prime at all. Amazon started out trading and allowing you to buy whatever you want on the net. As they got a dedicated client, loyal clientele, they have expanded to Amazon Prime. So much so that they invest a lot of money into producing and acquiring or buying entertainment. That's a huge revenue channel. So the minimal viable product when they started Prime, for anybody who started with it will know there was a very limited offering. And after the limited offering, once they got the buy-in of their customers, they built on it. Likewise, Airbnb. Airbnb started with the founder's own apartment. That was the minimal viable product, after which they built on it. Next, please. Test marketing. Test marketing is a strategy used by companies to check viability of a new product before going scale. And this is something when individuals start, it's a very, very classic example of everybody through the pandemic times who have tested out different things and launched new things, which is not an issue of scale, it's an issue of skill and getting a right fit. You need only so many clients to use your skill and be able to work with it. So that's test marketing. Next. Now I'll hand the platform back to Urvashi. She'll take you through the marketing bits.
Thank you, Arundhati. And now when we talk about marketing for your new idea, you have to understand that there are so many options available to market your product. But you have to pick up one that is suitable for your target market, that is suitable for your product. So if I want to advertise, if I want to market kids' colors or crayons, I cannot do it in a film fair magazine, right? I will have to do it on the channels where kids are there or their parents are there, right? So keeping this background in mind, you have to always keep on fine-tuning where and is your target audience and what is the message you want to give to them. So in marketing, there are the primary objectives are that you want to capture attention, you want to educate your prospects about the product, and finally you want them to buy it. And there are multiple options available in the market like outdoor advertisement, digital, content marketing, social media. The opportunities to market your product are immense, but please mind you that all of them are not meant for you. I will share here some examples that we come across for startups in our consulting firm. So a lot of startups or new businesses or businesses which are 2-3 years old are now getting some revenue. They come to us and they want us to market their products, and they come with a single vision. We want to do digital marketing for our product without understanding whether their customer is available on the digital platform or not, whether this kind of a product can be sold on a digital platform or not. I'll come to more such examples. So here are some examples from the bigger brands which have been doing some smart marketing. Right. For example, Reliance Jio, they started in the first month of launch and acquired almost 16 million subscribers. So their approach was they went all out with heavy advertising and signed up with celebrities also to talk about their product. Similarly, you have example of Patanjali, you have example of Fevicol, you have example of Amul, which is always coming up with different social ideas to market their product. But what I would focus today on is a couple of brands that we have been dealing with to give you a first-hand example of how it works. I encourage the audience to switch on their mics and talk. And if they have any idea in their mind, we can always discuss about how they can market it so that you know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Now, I was giving you an example. A client came to us, and the client was in the business of auto spare parts. Now, auto spare parts is something which is sold based on your regular clientele or word of mouth. You will not get the audience for auto spare parts on the digital platform. But because his friends told him that everyone is going digital, you should also go digital, he came to us and he was ready to spend an X amount for that. When it took me a lot of efforts to convince to him that he need not spend money on digital. There are different avenues through which he should be marketing. And one of them can be referral. You refer a next client and I give you a percentage off, or I give you an extra service. So depending on the business, depending on the target audience, the marketing strategy will depend. We had another client from Delhi, and we are based out of Hyderabad. That client from Delhi wanted to put up an exhibition of a premium luxury brand clothing. And now this designer was ready to spend couple of lakhs in advertisement and it was not a huge exhibition. It was just a one-day exhibition in some five-star property. Now we could have easily taken that money and done it for them because the client had money. They wanted to do it this way. But that's not how we operate. When a client comes to us, it's our job to help them pick up the right marketing tools. So instead of spending so much in marketing and advertising in newspaper, we rather help them create a PR around their brand in the same newspapers where they wanted to do a marketing, where they wanted to advertise. And this PR got them more results with very less money than what they could have got if they would have spent on advertising in the newspapers. Couple of other clients that we have are Mahiruham. They are in the business of making science kits for the school students. Now, the way to market these products would be to directly approach the schools or kids' birthday parties or venues like that, wherein you can tell the parents and the kids how these science kits will help open up their minds. Another client of ours, that is Rasoi Queen, was running a kitchen contest across India. So definitely digital was the way to go in this. And by chance, this client had launched this program just at the advent of pandemic. So digital was the only way to do it. We have another client in Bangalore, that is Keybox. Now this client is in real estate management. So, it has a very small area of operation in which it operates. So the client was very gaga about going digital and doing this and that, wherein his clientele is restricted to a certain geographical area in Bangalore. So a better way to reach those people would be through pamphlets, through newspaper flyers, by putting up notices in the society notice boards. We had a website for the client, but beyond that, digital would not have helped that client. So I shared a couple of examples with you where the new clients wanted to go and market their products, and how based on the product, how based on where the target audience is available, we were able to define the marketing strategy for them. If any one of you have any ideas in mind, we can discuss the marketing for that particular idea. I pass on the mic to Startup TV, and let us see if we have some questions from the audience.
Thank you, Urvashi. So I would request our participants, like Urvashi said, if someone has some idea and they want to know how to market it, I would love, the participants to come up with their ideas and, discuss them with Urvashi. Urvashi, I have one question for you.
Sure.
Suppose my startup idea is, I have a startup idea and I know there might be competitors in the market. So how to, identify a unique, marketing strategy for my idea?
See, it is good to have competition, I would say, because that is how the market grows. You cannot alone operate. When there is a competition, you all work together in building up the market, building up the customer base. So you do the way others are doing. You go unique only when your idea is unique. If you already have a competition, I look at it as a blessing, because there is an opportunity and a lot of people are already working towards it, which means you are all collectively building up the market.
So, but still, if I want to go ahead of them, what could be the, best marketing strategy to
If you
go
want
about
to
it?
go ahead of others, work harder. Right?
Okay.
And there is no formula for a marketing strategy. Once we know the product, then we do a detailed homework. Then we go, the how to work harder is you go and study all your target audience. You try to find out where all is your target audience available, whether they spend a lot of time on social media, or whether they watch TV, or whether they read newspaper, or they are most of the times on road listening to radio. Depending on that, we identify, okay, my target audience is mostly spending their time in so and so avenue. Okay, that is where I should go and talk about my message. Then we try to do a homework on what is the language, what are the words that target audience resonates with. For some people, save money can be a big catch. For some people, a class apart can be a big catch. So depending on what is it that would appeal to them, we pick up the right kind of messages to make sure the message is heard by them. Even if you are present at the right place, it is possible that your message will be missed. So you have to be very cautious on the choice of words and the choice of message. So these all homeworks, as much detailing as you do, and that is what I call is working harder, the chances of reaching to your target audience and ensuring that you are noticed by your customer are high. So there is no shortcut. You have to do a detailed homework.
And like you said, saving money, basically for budding entrepreneurs and startups, saving money is a big thing. They will focus on saving money like as much as they can. So, what kind of a unique marketing idea or strategy can they use, so that they'll be able to save money as well as they'll be able to reach out to, as many people as possible?
So as I said, there is no formula depending on your product. You have to identify, but most of the products today are digitally marketable, because the target audience is on all the social media platforms. So that is a way of marketing your product without spending much money, because most of it you can handle yourself. You don't have to hire an agency to do it. And once you are big enough, now again it is a chicken and the egg story, right? So you would want to know and understand where you want to put your energies on. Sometimes if you have time, you would want to do digital marketing yourself. If you do not have time, and if you are required to do a lot of homework on the product side, then definitely you take some help and market the product.
So, I think Urvashi, we have a question. Some marketing plans with most effective reach.
Okay, again, as I said, there is, it has to be, it completely depends on the product and the target audience. If the person who is asking the question can give me an idea of the product or any hypothetical product, then we can have an answer. Otherwise, the avenues are plenty. In general, if you ask me, digital marketing is the most money saving avenue, but again, one size does not fit all, right? As I just now shared an example that I had a couple of clients for whom digital marketing was of no use. But generally speaking, yes, digital marketing gets you more results by spending less. But again, you have to do a dipstick study whether it will actually help you if your audience is actually there on digital platform.
Urvashi ma'am, my name is Vinay, and I am from an organization named ReferenceGlobe. So I've been following with your lectures, okay, once in a while. So I just want to, I work in a business development profile, and would like to know. We generally give demonstrations and we try to convert the customers, but we don't really know the reasons why that particular deal is closing or not closing. So could you please let us know, how we can efficiently gauge a customer whether, that would work out or that doesn't work.
If I've understood your question correctly, you want to know whether your particular marketing is working for the customer or not. Am I right in understanding your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, you are Mr. Vinay, right?
You're correct, ma'am.
Okay, so Vinay ji, a good way of doing it will be, as we discussed in one of the sessions, to first of all make a customer profile in detail. Okay, this is what my customer looks like. This is the profile of my customer. That will include age, that will include what are the family members, what is the education qualification, what cycle of life is in that person in. Once you know in detail the customer profile, you can easily find out where is that person spending most of his or her time. Once you know that, you know, okay, these are the platforms I need to be present on. Now, once you do marketing on those platforms and you want to know whether the customer was converted through that or not, you can take help of forms. Even while this Zoom meeting is going on, you can conduct a poll wherein you can just flash the question, where did you get to know about this seminar? And you can give a multiple choice. It is always advisable. The customer can click on that and you will know where did that customer get to know about you. You can do a similar run on your digital platforms also. Suppose somebody comes and watches this video. Just before the video, you can give a poll that please spare a minute and help us know where did you get to know about this. And these days, customers are willingly participating in these polls. It all depends on how you word these polls. You ask for help and customers are ready to give you that guidance. Did that answer your question, Vinayji?
Yes, ma'am, to some extent. And I also would like to make a point that, there are few Indian movies that have come up, which has spent 0 rupees on marketing. Still, they made a huge success. So could you please?
I would say content is the king in that case. If your content is good, if the product is good, the quality is good, sooner or later it will be an auto success. The best form of marketing is the quality product. So nothing beats that.
Okay, understood. Yeah, thank you. I think you answered my questions.
Right. Thank you, Vinay.
So participants, if you have any questions, you can just unmute yourself and put across your questions to Urvashi ma'am. She'll answer your questions. Thank you.
I always say that no questions can mean only two things, either complete understanding or zero understanding. So let us assume in this case it is complete understanding.
Urvashi, one more question. Like you said, digital marketing is what is in demand right now. But you also said that there are some clients who are not witnessing any this thing from digital marketing. So
Just to correct you, I never said digital marketing is in demand. I said digital marketing is one of the cost-effective ways to market your products.
Okay, so other than that, like we understand that all of us, almost all of us, are there on social media. But if for those people who are not there, how what other marketing strategies are cost effective as well as uh, efficient as well?
If you can give me the example of the product, it will be easy for me to tell you. But if you want me to say generally, then newspaper flyers is one.
Okay,
In
I'll take up
rural
one product maybe. Like 7th August was Handloom Day, so maybe for our textile industry, what other way? Because handlooms and everything are not that popular on social media, and
then you are highly mistaken, my dear, because the way handloom is causing a wave in social media, the way they are selling on social media, and the way people are talking about let's help weavers, they are doing tremendous sale on social media. So they are doing excellent. Then another way of selling your handloom products can be through exhibitions, reaching out to the retail outlets and keeping your products there, and maybe newspaper flyers or notice boards in various societies or communities where you can talk about your product and put up a stall once in a while. So these are some of the ways of doing. But uh, uh, handloom is already doing wonderful job on social media, especially Instagram and Facebook. They are all over.
so anyone else has any questions, or we'll end the session.
Urvashi ma'am, once again, I'm Vinay from ReferenceGlobe.
Yeah.
Basically, I have a question. See, I know that like Reliance Jio or JioMart, so these are all very big brands and they're well-established businesses. But let's say, for example, I have a startup, so which is in edutech domain, and I wanted to, market my product across the country. So, is
What's
there
your product, Vinay? I missed
it's an edutech product, ma'am. Let's assume that it's an edutech product. So
negative
basically,
product.
edutech, like
EduTech.
Okay, okay.
edutech product, and I wanted to reach out to the in the sense, I wanted the maximum reach. So, is there any effective strategy apart from,
So
LinkedIn?
one way of doing edutech is go and approach the schools, talk to the principals, and tell them, because if even if two or three schools agree to help you reach your product, the target audience, you can get hold of 5,000 target audience immediately. At least your product will be marketed to them. Whether they buy or not depends on the product and the compatibility. But reach out to the schools and principals if your end customer is the student. If your end customer is the school itself, then go and talk to them. I mean, calling and talking is also a form of marketing. So you talk to them, pick up the phone, and explain to them about their product, take an appointment, go and meet them, and do a physical demonstration.
Yes, ma'am. See, thank you for making that point. Actually, we are already following that, and we were not able to expand our reach. Our reach is very limited. Like we have 24 hours time, and hardly we work for 10 hours. And within that 10 hours, we are hardly able to reach out to at least 30 or 40 prospects in a day. So let's assume that where there is an effective strategy. Let's say, for example, we introduce a new product and we wanted to launch and share the information with the colleges across India. So one platform is LinkedIn, okay, which we are already using. So apart from that, do you think there is any other ways where we can reach out to
There
them?
would be multiple ways, Vinayji, because LinkedIn, I am not sure if it is that effective, because not all schools and college admins or principals are very active on LinkedIn. I don't think so. I'm sure there will be multiple ways, but I will have to do a detailed homework of the product, the plus and the minus of the product, the target audience, and then only I will be able to give you in more detail about how to reach the target audience. Maybe we can take it offline once this is over. Maybe you can visit us sometime in our office and we can help you in that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. I was looking out for a suggestion from your experience, so
Yeah,
nothing much. Yeah, thank you.
right. Thank you, Vinay.
Thank you, Vashi, for your valuable inputs on marketing and market validation. And I would also like to thank Arundhati.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks. It was good.
Thank you.